animal. Well, if this so, I don't want to be a monkey, either a goat, a sheep, or donkey. My brother said he wants to come back a hug, but not wrongy. I want to be a bed bug just because I'm going to bite them young ladies' bumper, or like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you're thin, don't be in a fright. It's only big fat woman I'm going to bite.
They had a massive bedbug invasion at the Honolulu airport.
Ooh.
Oh.
They were closing. Did you fly into there when you and your sisters went?
No, we were in Maui, different island.
Hawaii's largest airport in Honolulu had to shut down 3 gates because of a bedbug infestation. First thing I did, man, we got to the hotel.
You have to.
This weekend, lift up the friggin' mattress. See what's going on. Because I always get 2, when we travel with our daughter, we get 2 beds. One of us gets 1 bed, and the other one is the other one and our daughter. Or sometimes she'll want to sleep on the couch. And so that's fine. This time she didn't. But I lift up. First you tear off that comforter, and those are getting thinner and thinner too.
They are.
Because I think they were like, why are we spending all this money in these fluffy comforters if people are kind of getting wise and just pulling them off as soon as they walk in anyway? Once information like this kind of gets disseminated over years and years, people go, oh, that, you know, people reading up on travel hacks and blah, 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 especially post-COVID. So these comforters are getting thinner and thinner. But boy, if you're not lifting up the corner of that mattress and checking underneath, I don't know what you're doing.
You guys.
Everybody's worried about spooge on the remote. Like,
No, I don't
okay,
care
that's
about that, just the bed
because
bugs.
you're going to add to it.
Mhm.
But I mean, granted, you check underneath that mattress. What, Cody?
You guys got me hip because I did not do that. I've gone most of my life without worrying about bed bugs. But then since you guys talk about it so often and you guys are well traveled, I felt like I was a sucker. So that's the first thing I did when we went to the room because I was like, oh, wow, this was like big because we didn't pay. We got one of the cheaper hotels. I didn't know what to expect, but it was actually pretty nice. And then the first thing I did, went up there, pull the little sheets up, look at the corner, look underneath the bed. And I was like, okay, we're good to sleep here.
Where did you guys stay?
Oh, God, it was a Quality Inn.
Okay.
Quality Inn. But it was like a big.
In Warren?
Yeah, it was like near like the GM facility out there. But yeah, it was nice. And then I don't know if I'm getting older or cheaper.
I mean, you are.
Okay, probably both then, because that's all we could talk about. We were really excited about the free breakfast in the morning. I'm like, it's only going to be some yogurt and like some cereal. But the fact that it was complimentary, I'm like, we're getting up early. We have to get up at least an hour, 2 hours before checkout and get the breakfast before everyone else gets it.
And did you get in before everybody else got it?
No, we were late. We were late, and it was a whole Indian family, like 8 of them. I'm like, damn it. We're late. I was like, because they all wanted to get like a waffle, and those waffles, when you flip it, takes like three,
4 minutes, yeah.
and each one wanted one. I'm like, man, come on. So
you were standing there and whining?
I'm being passive aggressive, like,
wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna finish my yogurt by the time I make my waffle. And then, I'm one of those people that puts the orange juice in the cup, drinks it, and before I walk away, I fill it up again.
You have
Again,
to.
I don't know if I'm cheap or if I'm old, but like that's just I'm gonna get my money's worth. This whole, $150 we paid, I'm getting every cent worth.
Did you go to Buddy's Pizza? That's out in Warren.
No, we didn't do anything
that's
around
good.
Warren. What did we do? Because I know we ordered food, but I forget from where. But yeah, we just kind of went downtown. We didn't really explore Detroit like we wanted to. We went to Pride, and then we went to that little gay club.
All right. GG's.
Yes. The drag show. They suckered us into it because they were like, oh, the dance club's up here. But there was like a bunch of cars in the parking lot. And I was like, damn, there's a lot of people here. And we were at the upstairs, and he's like, the upstairs free until it was just free. And I was like, oh, I wonder why, because there's no one here. We walked down the stairwell. I'm like, oh, y'all hiding bitches down here. Like, it was just
Jesus.
It was just a speakeasy full of drag queens, and it was cool.
All right. They were hiding bitches down there.
They're hiding bitches.
That's nice.
And they were well dressed.
All right.
Unlike Buffalo, where people couldn't even dance on beat and their tracks was showing. Like, come on, get it together.
All right. But you let it slide?
Let what slide?
That they were showing their tracks.
At Buffalo, no, I did not let that slide.
Oh,
I said,
okay.
get me out of here.
Right. This is not up to my standards, is what you were saying.
Well, because they didn't have any gay clubs in Niagara Falls, so we had to Uber all the way. It was like a half-hour ride to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right, show me what you got. And that's what they had. So, yeah. Detroit, top-notch. It was top-notch drag queens.
All right. Well, at least they've got that going for them. You know, very exciting for Detroit
I guess.
to have top-notch drag queens. City's on the come-up.
Well, I wanted to go see. We were trying to save a little time, but we were so exhausted the next morning. I was really hungover. But I wanted to go to the Motown Museum. And I find it ironic that I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to go to the Motown Museum. And I haven't even explored, like, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in my own town. But we didn't end up going.
I mean, you don't have to do them in order.
I know, but
It's like a movie. If you don't watch the prequel, you can't follow.
Well, it's just kind of like a New Yorker never really visits. A lot of them haven't even visited the Statue of Liberty. And I guess the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would be our Statue of Liberty.
Boy, I've never heard it put like that before. The Statue of Liberty, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the Statue of Liberty of Cleveland.
It absolutely is. What else would be?
You mean as far as landmarks go?
Or
that is what we're known for. If you think Cleveland,
Yeah.
rock and roll, you think New York City, you either think Times Square, but that's not a landmark. The Statue of Liberty would be their biggest, oldest, the most sacred landmark.
Yeah, you might be right. I never think about the Statue of Liberty.
I think every town has like their own little landmark or like something that they're
Well,
known.
biggest ball of twine, and yeah. Hey, Ted Kaczynski died.
Oh.
Unabomber killed himself.
Speaking of a ball of twine.
Hey, I'm telling you what.
What a
man.
Unabomber.
What took so long, by the way? It was almost 30 years that guy's been in there. He said he'd never spend life in prison. I'd rather be dead than spend life in prison. What took you so long?
Right, he's been in prison for
Almost 30 years.
almost 30 years.
He's a smart dude. Really smart dude. To Harvard and U of M and Berkeley, but he just ended up moving into I think his dad killed himself, and he went out and lived in a cabin and killed 3 people. Convicted for a series of bombings targeting scientists. And they said that he killed himself.
Ahead of his time.
Ahead of his time. Yeah, he really was. Well, I'll tell
Wait
you
a
what.
minute. Okay. I wasn't sure exactly what he did, and I looked it up real quick, and this is horrible to say this, but he only killed 3 people.
It was a quainter time. It was a different time.
It says 1978 to 1995, and that's what I'm trying to get at, is like this dude killed 3 people, injured 23.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
So 26 total people over the course of 20 years? And I don't know, man. And he got to
your
spend
point
life.
is what?
That happens in one mass shooting, and the person who shoots doesn't get in trouble half
This was
the
the
time.
early 90s. I mean, it was a bit of we weren't awash in domestic terrorists. That's why guys like Timothy McVeigh
So he's
and
like
the
the
Unabomber.
first,
Yeah, these were like a big deal back then. These were guys that had an axe to grind with the government.
Okay, but why can't
People now have an axe to grind with each other.
Why can't you punish those people the same way?
What do you mean?
Like a lot of the school shooters get off easy, or
No, a lot of
try
them
to-
kill themselves.
Or that's true too, I guess.
The
you're
ones
right.
who are prosecuted go to prison for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that's how they most. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's
And
how
Ted-
most of them avoid
Yeah, prison
prosecution.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And if they're white, they get Burger King, and they
That's
get,
what
you
I'm,
know,
like
I mean,
that is what
so
I'm
it's-
talking about, or like.
Well, that's a punishment.
Well, I don't know how poorly they treated Ted Kaczynski. I just know that they looked for him for a while.
Not like they're getting a strawberry frosty from Wendy's. That would be too far.
I mean, Timothy McVeigh with that truck bomb killed a lot of people. Ted Kaczynski was sending out mail bombs that he had made. So that's going to be a lot less precise.
man, if that were me, I would have ended up dying because going to the post office is such a bummer. I hate going to the post office. I make all these
That alone would have
I make all
put
these,
you off the scent.
Yeah, I make all these mail bombs, and then I'm like, I'll mail them tomorrow. Ah, damn it.
Oh, I missed it. Got it.
I had one thing to do today. It was go to the post office.
Let me just put this here. Oh, damn it. A lot of those guys, you know, like Al-Qaeda and back in the day, like a lot of these bombers, they end up killing themselves because something goes wrong. I don't know if he ever hurt himself.
Well, he did recently.
He did, yeah. They said because initially they were like,
bad.
cause of death is unknown, but then they said it looks like he killed himself. Mailed or hand delivered a series of increasingly sophisticated bombs that killed 3 people and injured 23 others. 16 bombs were attributed to him.
Hand delivered? Do you think he like wore a little outfit, like
Ace Ventura at the beginning of the first movie?
He just sat down.
HDS, how are you today, sir? Alrighty then.
He took a picture with his phone, tried to make it real convincing. Obviously, he didn't have a phone back then, but I'm painting the picture here.
Candygram from Mongo comes in a little hat. Candygram.
Oh, Craig, look, it's a telegram. Oh my gosh, I think your grandma finally sent you your birthday gift.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Like, well, this one. You're really going to love it. I think you want to stand back.
But he was sending bombs to academics, and he was one. They think that that he participated in a study in college that really effed with his brain. He participated in some experiment over mind control or something that involved electrodes, or because he was a real smart guy. He had like doctorates in mathematics and things like that. And all of his bombs were targeting academics. So like a graduate student at Northwestern, my alma mater, like in the late 70s. And he put one on an American Airlines flight. That sounds random. And those people just got smoke inhalation. And some of the bombs have been diffused. But like, he was just sending them to random colleges. And, you know, like sometimes the secretary would open the mail. And she'd end up losing a couple of fingers. One of the people who died, because a lot of people got hurt, only 3 of them died. A computer store owner in Sacramento, an advertising executive in New Jersey, and a timber industry lobbyist in Sacramento. So this guy had some ideas about people that were, you know, I don't know. But at that time, we didn't have mass shootings every day.
It's just sad to think of it like that. That's the first place my mind went was, oh, he only killed 3 people. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's nothing.
Well, because I mean, I get that. If you're not really well versed in some of these people, especially if they hold a larger than life place in pop culture or history, you're like, oh my God, would they kill like 100 people or blow up a plane or something? And Ted Kaczynski wasn't that.
And I had heard of him, but 1995, I mean, I was 5 years old, 6 years old. I didn't know what was going on.
Why weren't you more involved with current events, Mary?
I was involved with the church, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
And they want nothing to do with current events.
You were trying to bomb Satan out of your soul.
Exactly.
She was learning about ancient events. I'll tell you what, though. Between finally getting some rain, Trump getting indicted, and Pat Robertson and the Unabomber going away, this has been a pretty good June.
Doing all right.
This has truly been a Pride Month to be proud of.
Father's Day.
Man.
You got
my birthday.
Yeah, your birthday's next week.
It's going to be what a month so far. God, because we didn't realize we were going to be in the car for 9 goddamn hours in construction traffic going home to see my family, we were listening to the breaking news of the Trump indictment and them reading the charges. My favorite part is when they were talking about him reading confidential maps to someone in his office. And this was recorded. It's all on tape. Going over a confidential map with someone and showing them like secret military installations, you know, situations that could get people overseas killed. And people started putting 2 and 2 together and they were going, who was he showing that map to? And then people remembered, and we played this clip at the time, people remember Kid Rock talking to Tucker Carlson a couple of years ago about how he was hanging out with Trump and couldn't believe the stuff Trump was showing him. Do you remember that
wow.
clip?
Oh, you
Yeah.
think
And
that's
Tucker
what it
Carlson
was?
thought it was hilarious. People were like, of course it's Kid Rock who got shown these things. I wonder if he got subpoenaed. I wonder if that'll come up in the trial.
Oh,
Mr. Rock, Mr. Richie, do you?
please state your name for the jury. My name is Kid.
Yep. Is this a map of Ba-Wata-Bastan?
It's reworded and more political and like, a little politically correct. And I'm like, just being pretty, we're looking at maps. I'm like, am I supposed to be like in on I make dirty records sometimes. I'm like, I do it here.
You didn't think you'd have a hand
What do
in
you think we should do about North Korea? I'm like, what? I don't think I'm qualified to answer this.
Tucker Carlson thought it was hilarious that Kid Rock was looking at maps. That's pretty wild.
Let's be honest. It is, in a way, like, kind of hilarious. But if it's actually Trump showing Kid Rock that class, like, that's, I mean,
It's not like Kid Rock's going to sell
it's
the information,
ridiculous.
but still, it's
You're just trying to show off to Kid Rock.
Right. You're just trying to impress him.
right. So, yeah, that to me, I was like, man, that's funny. Because it's so classic Trump. Hey, look at this. He's like pretending to still be the president. So it makes him feel important. And he's golfing with Kid Rock, and they come back in. And he's just got crap laying around. You saw the pictures of the boxes in the bathrooms, and he's got stuff laying around. Hey, Kid Rock, want to look at this? Want to see what's going on here? What should we do about North Korea? Tucker Carlson thought it was great. That was hilarious. But they'll figure that whole thing out. It's wild, though. If you haven't read that indictment, boy, you should. Because it is wild. Wild. And so, what?
I just have a question about, do you think it's necessary to indict him? Because would it be, that whole thing with Nixon, the reason why, granted, he resigned, but the next administration was like, oh, this looks really bad for America to have a.
It was a different time.
Okay, well, that's all I was asking.
All Trump would have had to do was give them back when they were asked. He could have avoided all of this if he had just said, oh, my bad. And when the National Archives came calling, like they have with everyone else, with Hillary and Biden and all these people that have classified stuff, when they hit him up and they go, you got something, we need it back, they go, okay, come pick him up. If all he would have had to have done, given all of the other things he's got to contend with, right? He had the rape beef for a while. They're still litigating what happened in Georgia. All these other things. All he had to do was return those documents. He's not president anymore. He's a private citizen.
I get it.
And they can twist themselves into all kind of contortions.
But
all he would have had to have done was do that, and none of this would have happened.
But
none
not-
of it. So easy.
Not saying he didn't do anything wrong, not saying that he is above the law, but it just seems like a waste of resources and a waste of time. And it seems
To try a guy under the Espionage Act.
But he's not.
Why do you think that the Saudis gave Jared Kushner $2 billion?
Yes, but all politicians do
Well,
that.
no, they do not. This both sides nonsense has got to stop.
Politics is corrupt. Like, it's
It's
all
got
corrupt.
to stop. Why do you think the Saudis gave Jared Kushner $2 billion?
I don't know.
None of us do. But do you think they just hand that money out? It's not because Jared Kushner's an awesome businessman, because he's been proven to not be. He's very much not a good businessman. So it is a curious case. Now, that hasn't been mentioned in part of this.
It has something to do with why they're partnering with golf now?
I don't know that has anything to do with the golf thing.
I'm just saying they didn't want to. Then all of a sudden, they're in.
But when Jared and Ivanka come out of the White House, having made hundreds of millions of dollars, and then because he needs a loan to prop up some failing thing, Jared, the Saudis give him $2 billion.
Okay, But I
It's
just
reasonable to ask why. This wasn't like nobody wrote him a check for a couple $100,000. It's $2 billion.
it's reasonable to ask. I understand why people are curious. Yes, it's very corrupt. But do you honestly think that Trump is going to go to prison? Because I don't.
Well, that's way down the road.
I don't think he's
I
gonna-
have no clue.
No
but
one-
that's way, way, way down the road. They used to execute people under the Espionage Act. You know who Julius and Ethel Rosenberg are?
No.
Never learned about them in college or high school?
I probably forgot.
No, read about the Rosenbergs. And they're not the only ones.
Weren't they the
Now-
neighbors on Three's Company?
Yes, it was Mr. and Mrs. Roper, and then the Rosenbergs moved in, and then Ralph Furley took over for them. Hey, let me give you a key for the Buzzard bike. Poundcake is going to take a winner here before I go to the break, because after the break, I'm going to have WWE Raw tickets for you. But we're giving away this Buzzard bike, this brand new Harley, courtesy of Budweiser. And every day, Rover's got a key, Stansbury has one, and I have one for you. And one of these, obviously, is going to fire this puppy up. And it's a good-looking bike. So your shot at my key today is right now.